Hi all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I recently covered the story of an Amber Alert with a dark twist out of Delaware, where an Amber Alert was issued for 3-year-old Nola Dinkins on June 10th, followed by an extensive search for her overnight. Police said Nola's mother, Darian Randall, told them she was driving in her car when Nola got upset in the back seat, and when she pulled over to comfort her, a strange man came out of the woods near her car, armed, and took Nola away, fleeing in a vehicle driven by a woman.
Keith and Aaron, you may be waking up if you live in Newcastle County with an Amber Alert notification on your phone. I received that as I drove into the area early this morning. There are also several messages expressing that there is an Amber Alert, an active Amber Alert on the interstate, all in search of this missing 3-year-old girl taken at gunpoint. Let's show you video of the scene last night, as well as a picture of 3-year-old Nola Dinkins. This happened around 7:15 last night in the 500 block of Gender Road. Newcastle County Police say a white man in his 40s who was armed with a handgun took 3-year-old Nola Dinkins from her mother, got into an SUV, and investigators say a white woman with blonde hair drove them all away. Investigators described the SUV as a dark Ford or Chevy with rust or dirt on it. Nola Dinkins was last seen wearing a white T-shirt, leggings, and white shoes. And investigators told us late last night that there is no relation between Nola Dinkins and the two people who took her. If you have any information at all, or you see Nola Dinkins, you're urged to contact 911 immediately. Reporting live in Newcastle, Neil Fisher, NBC 10 News.
Then, the following morning, police held a press briefing to update the public on Nola's abduction. But it wasn't the update we were expecting. Instead of giving us the status of their search, police announced that the Amber Alert had been canceled because they found that Nola's mother lied about her being abducted, and they were launching a homicide investigation instead. Hours later, police announced that they had arrested Nola's mother for filing a false police report after they found the body of a deceased child in a suitcase in a park not far from Nola's mother's boyfriend's home in Maryland. And the case only turned darker from there.
An Amber Alert was issued for 3-year-old Nola, and the Newcastle County Division of Police Criminal Investigations Unit, along with the FBI, began an intensive investigation that continued throughout the night. As a result of that investigation, detectives determined that the initial account of the investigation, or of the incident given by the mother, was false. The Amber Alert is now canceled, and there is no danger to the public. Sadly, this incident is now being treated as a homicide investigation by the Maryland State Police. Our detectives are continuing to work closely with the FBI and Maryland State Police. Additional information will be released as it becomes available. We'd like to thank everyone who has called in and provided possible tips and information.
Shocking update there, in fact, from Newcastle County Police, revealing that this reported abduction Amber Alert has turned now into a homicide, that the Amber Alert has been canceled as the report had been deemed false. No suspects at this point. Again, we're talking about a 3-year-old girl by the name of Nola Dinkins, who reportedly last night around 7:15 was taken at gunpoint by someone when the mom had pulled over her car.
Yeah, she told investigators at that point, calling 911, that Nola became, I guess, upset in the back seat, and then an individual came out of the woods and kidnapped her daughter at gunpoint. But again, a shocking turn just after 11 o'clock this morning, as we found out that Amber Alert is over and that this is now being treated as a homicide by Maryland State Police. So still a lot of questions with what has happened, and we're hoping to get more information from investigators soon.
A tragic discovery in the search for a girl reported missing in Delaware. A body is found after police say her reported kidnapping was all a big lie. Good evening, I'm Don Bell. Yuki Washington is off today. The search for the little girl has led across state lines. The mother of Nola Dinkins told police her 3-year-old daughter was kidnapped last night in Newark, Delaware. The search went into Cecil County, Maryland, where state police have reported that a body has been found this afternoon, but the remains have not been identified. Just minutes ago, police released this mugshot of the little girl's mother, Darian Randall. She is now charged with filing a false report. CBS Philadelphia reporter Ryan Hughes has been following this story all day long. He's at the Maryland State Police Barracks. Ryan, what's the latest?
Don, good evening. We're waiting on another update from Maryland State Police, and you said it at the top of the show. Homicide detectives, they are waiting right now for that body to be identified. According to Maryland State Police, we are told that human remains consistent with a child, they were found this afternoon. Now, police aren't giving that exact location, but we're told the remains were found in a vacant lot in Cecil County, not far from this location. This all comes after an intensive search for 3-year-old Nola Dinkins. She was reported missing to Newcastle County Police in Delaware last night. This case has since crossed state lines into Maryland, and Maryland State Police are leading the investigation with the help of the FBI. An Amber Alert was issued last night, which led to an intense search. We're told that Nola's mother, she told Newcastle County Police she pulled her car over on the side of Gender Road in Newark to try and calm her toddler down. We're told she told police the 3-year-old was upset. That's when the mom told police she was approached by a man with a gun and that he took Nola and then drove away in a car with a woman behind the wheel. Now, 11 o'clock this morning, police called off that Amber Alert and said this was now a homicide investigation. Take a listen to the latest update we received from Maryland State Police.
At 1:45 today, the Maryland State Police Homicide Unit located what appears to be human remains consistent with that of a child. At this point, positive identification of those remains has not been made. We are waiting on autopsy results from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner.
And you are now looking at a picture of the mother of Nola Dinkins. Police say her story fell apart, and Newcastle County Police tell us 31-year-old Darian Randall of Newark has now been charged with filing a false police report. She was arraigned today and is now being held on $1 million bail. As for the case here in the state of Maryland, we are told this is an active investigation and charges are pending here. Again, Maryland State Police expected to release another update as soon as we get it. We'll pass it right along. For now, though, that is the very latest. Live in Northeast Maryland, Ryan Hughes. Don, back to you.
A troubling story, to say the least. Ryan, thank you.
Then, in a very noisy press conference, because they held it outside next to a busy road, police began to give the details of Nola's case, including announcing the arrests of both her mother, Darian Randall, and her boyfriend for Nola's unaliving. There's a lot of background noise, but I wanted to share it to tell Nola's story.
At this time, the Maryland State Police have arrested 2 individuals connected to the disappearance of the 3-year-old who was the subject of an Amber Alert in Delaware last night. They are identified as Darian Randall, 31, and Cedric Antoine Britton, 44, both of Northeast Maryland. Randall is charged with first and second degree murder, first degree of child abuse resulting in death of a minor under 13, and other related criminal charges. Randall's currently in police custody at the Newcastle County Division of Police awaiting extradition to Maryland. Britton is charged with accessory to first and second degree murder after the fact, failure to report child death, and other related criminal charges. Britton is in police custody and is awaiting transport to the Cecil County District Court for his initial appearance. Yesterday evening, after the Amber Alert was issued for a 3-year-old Nola Dinkins through Newcastle County Division of Police, after the mother reported her kidnapped in Newark, Delaware, an intensive investigation was immediately initiated. Maryland State Police from the Northeast Barrack, as well as our Criminal Enforcement Division Northern Region, assisted in this investigation with the information that the 3-year-old lived in Cecil County with her mother. Information gleaned throughout the investigation revealed that the initial report provided by Randall was false and that Amber Alert was subsequently canceled. Information that was gleaned through the investigation of the Maryland State Police Homicide Unit led to human remains found in a vacant lot today at 1:45 p.m. in the northeast region of Cecil County. Maryland State Police Homicide Unit is continuing this investigation and is leading it with the help of our federal partners at the FBI as well as our police partners in Delaware. And at this point, I do not have any identification on the human remains, but they are consistent with those belonging to a child. And that is all the information I really have for you at this point.
Have authorities ever been called to that home before?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Elena, the second suspect you named, do you know what the relationship between that suspect and to the child is? Where can you elaborate?
Police believe Randall is the mother of the 3-year-old, and the 44-year-old Cedric Britton was living in the same house, and he is believed to be her boyfriend.
Did they have full custody? I understand the father is Indiana.
I cannot answer that, I'm sorry.
Okay. And as far as the child abuse charges and murder without an ID, how did you guys handle that?
In consultation with the Office of the State's Attorney in Cecil County, our homicide unit investigators had enough information gleaned through the investigation that connected these two individuals with the disappearance of this 3-year-old.
So they were arrested in Delaware, but the mother and the 3-year-old live in Maryland?
The mother remains in Delaware in police custody, and the boyfriend is in Maryland State and the boyfriend is in Maryland in state police custody.
So, but the 3-year-old lives in Maryland with the mother for this time?
That's what we believe at this time.
Okay. So do we know why the mother was in Delaware at the time of the arrest?
The part of the investigation involving the Amber Alert and the false report that this mother allegedly gave is all still under investigation, and any information or any questions you have about that part of the investigation should be, you should probably ask the Delaware authorities.
Can you tell us a little more about how you knew that the child knew this body was in the park and more about the specific area?
It was information that was gleaned throughout the investigation in the leads that our homicide unit investigators were able to obtain that led them to the site where the human remains were discovered, which was in a vacant lot in Northeast.
Can you be any more specific about where that lot is? Do you have a street name or anything?
All of that is part of the ongoing investigation.
We are choppers over apartments.
Ever since Maryland State Police began their part of this investigation, they have been searching neighborhoods, they've been searching community parks. They were combing through areas in Cecil County looking for any signs of this infant. It wasn't until evidence was obtained through the investigation that led them to this vacant lot.
So we don't know if there's a very local community park.
I don't believe it is. I can research that for you, though.
Where was the 44-year-old man when you got
him? Anything on that one? Maryland State Police were assisting with the Amber Alert part of the investigation when they learned that the 3-year-old lived in Cecil County. They responded to the home, and that is where they made contact with the 44-year-old man involved in this investigation.
Were any other kids, or do any other kids live in the home with the two that you mentioned?
I do not know if there are any other individuals that live in that home.
Is she cooperating with police?
And yes, both individuals have cooperated with police since the beginning of this investigation.
Does Ms. Randall have any other family members in the state of Maryland, and are they cooperating with police?
I don't know about any other family members.
Does she have any priors?
I don't know that either. Okay.
Do you know how long they've been living in Maryland, or?
No, I'm sorry.
Do you have any plans of releasing them?
If I can get it, I absolutely will. Yes, I'm working on a news release now, and I hope to issue that, within I promise 30 minutes.
At this point, we don't have positive identification of the body found.
We do not have positive identification of the human remains that were found.
And she'll be extradited here tomorrow. Is that correct?
I cannot tell you when she will be extradited. I just know she's awaiting extradition.
And in addition to the mug, when you say that he moved, does he move publicly where we would see him like in a parking lot over here?
That I don't know. Yeah.
Is that something you guys do know? Or
Not really.
What's the boyfriend's last name?
The boyfriend's last name, and this will be out in the news release shortly.
Okay.
Cedric is his first name, Cedrick. Britton, Britten, 44 years old of Northeast.
Do you think we'll get his mugshot back today?
I can't guarantee it. I can try though.
Sure. And then as far as you're waiting on the medical examiner to determine...
Yes, our investigators are waiting on the results of the autopsy to not just only identify the young, what we believe to be a child's body, but also cause and manner of death.
Do you plan to give another update tomorrow when you have that information, or
Yes.
have we follow up with that?
Yes, as soon as I get the identification, I'll follow up with everybody. But this is a tragic incident, and for everybody involved, the Maryland State Police, all the investigators are working tirelessly to resolve what happened here and why it happened. So our hearts go out to the community and to all of those involved, and we thank you for it.
Then police said Nola's evil mother confessed to unaliving Nola the day before she lied to police about her abduction. And her boyfriend helped her dispose of Nola's body.
It was hard to read the documents today as I was reading them for the first time. We're sitting in the truck just astounded. But yeah, a lot of this, of course, is a Newcastle County Police Department story. It all started here. But police in Maryland now say 31-year-old Darian Randall didn't have her daughter stolen here in Delaware. Like she said, they say she beat her to death with a belt back on Monday. And then they say her boyfriend hid the body. They say this whole Amber Alert thing that led to the Amber Alert that had all of our phones screaming at us Tuesday night. It was all just an elaborate cover-up.
I don't have words. Honestly, I don't have words.
Neighbors here in this Northeast Maryland community said they never saw Darian Randall or her 3-year-old daughter Nola living up the long driveway in the home of 44-year-old Cedric Britton. They say they barely knew Cedric and have no idea what he even did for a living.
It was surprising and shocking to see all yesterday.
Court documents show after police began investigating the accusation Nola was stolen off a quiet road in Newark, they learned what really happened. They say Randall had beaten Nola 15 to 20 times with a belt on Monday and that she collapsed and died after wrapping the child with saran wrap and putting her in a suitcase. Police say they drove around with the child's emaciated body, but later came back and put the suitcase on the basement steps. They say the next day, Cedric hid the body on a vacant lot more or less adjacent to his own property. By Tuesday night, Cedric must have known police were onto them. He had literally just been added to the local homeowners association as his girlfriend was reporting Nola missing.
We left that HOA meeting, and as I understand, he was talking with neighbors in the parking lot after the meeting, and his phone was being called and called and called and called, and then he got a 911 text, and he said, "I gotta go, it's my girlfriend."
Police say he eventually confessed to all of the allegations and told them where the body was hidden. Both he and Darian Randall are now behind bars. She currently remains in a Delaware prison.
We just can't fathom how a human could do this to another human being, and that someone so close to us here in the neighborhood could play a part in it is just devastating.
Yeah, and we found court paperwork from Indiana that shows Randall changed her custody agreement with Nola's dad to move here to Maryland to be with her boyfriend. I've been trying to reach out to him today, but haven't been able to connect. I also just learned that despite prosecutors asking that Britton be held without bail, in the last few minutes we have learned that the state's attorney put out a statement saying despite their request, he has been allowed out on home detention and $75,000 cash bail. He is allowed to go back home temporarily. For now, we're live at Newcastle County Police Headquarters. Tim Furlong, NBC 10 News.
This story is disgusting and pure evil. But I wanted to share it so people would learn what happened to precious little Nola Dinkins, who is only 3 years old and who became known to the world because of a fake Amber Alert. A lie. After her own egg donor violently took her life away. She was precious She was beautiful, and she deserved so much better than what was done to her. She was too good for this world, and her story needs to be told. May she rest in peace. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Nola's story. I appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on my next video.